Welcome to Good Friday, the final Holy Week message from Canon Church. I'm Tim Emmett, the senior pastor at Canon, and if you've had the chance to join us each day this week, you've heard messages from members of our church helping us walk through this week together with Jesus. If you haven't seen those previous videos, I hope you'll check them out through our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. The purpose of this week, the purpose of these messages is to help us walk together with Jesus through Holy Week, through the last week of Jesus. Last Sunday, we celebrated Palm Sunday, the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem. Rick Adams then helped us experience what has often been called Fig Monday. Then Ann Bender helped us experience Temple Tuesday, Jesus teaching in the temple. Jason Wilkins helped us see and visualize and experience the conspiracy against Jesus. And then Pam Freeman and Carolyn Clevenger took us to the upper room and to Jesus' final supper with his disciples. Today, of course, is Good Friday. And so after those events, after that teaching, after that meal, after that conspiracy has been hatched, we read in the Gospel according to Mark, the 15th chapter, verses 16 through 39. Then the soldiers led him into the courtyard of the palace, that is the governor's headquarters, and they called together the whole cohort. They clothed him in a purple cloak, and after twisting some thorns into a crown, they put it on him. And they began saluting him, "Hail, King of the Jews!" They struck his head with a reed, spat upon him, and knelt down in homage to him. After mocking him, they stripped him of the purple cloak and put his own clothes on him. Then they led him out to crucify him. They compelled a passerby who was coming in from the country to carry his cross. It was Simon of Cyrene, the father of Alexander and Rufus. And they brought Jesus to the place called Golgotha, which means the place of a skull, and they offered him wine mixed with myrrh, but he did not take it. And they crucified him and divided his clothes among them, casting lots to decide what each should take. It was 9 o'clock in the morning when they crucified him. The inscription of the charge against him read, "The King of the Jews." And with him they crucified two bandits, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by derided him, shaking their heads and saying, "Aha, you who would destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself and come down from the cross." In the same way, the chief priests, along with the scribes, were also mocking him among themselves and saying, "He saved others, he cannot save himself. Let the Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross now, so that we may see and believe." Those who were crucified with him also taunted him. When it was noon, darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. At 3 o'clock, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, "Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, "Listen, he is calling for Elijah." And someone ran, filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on a stick, and gave it to him to drink, saying, "Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to take him down." Then Jesus gave a loud cry and breathed his last, and the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Now when the centurion who stood facing him saw that in this way he breathed his last, he said, "Truly this man was the Son of God." On December 2nd, 1804, Napoleon Bonaparte, the master of Europe, was crowned King of France. He was crowned in an elaborate 4-hour-long ceremony held in the Cathedral of Notre Dame in Paris. It was a ceremony filled with elaborate processions, fabulous costumes, beautiful decorations. Every moment of the 4-hour-plus ceremony was meticulously planned by Napoleon himself. He was not only a master strategist, but a master political strategist as well, a propagandist, if you will. Every moment of that ceremony was planned by Napoleon. It was attended by over 12,000 people, including the Bishop of Rome, the Pope, who would come to offer the blessing of God when Napoleon was crowned. It was a deeply traditional service, except for one innovation that no one expected except Napoleon himself. When the time came for Napoleon to receive the crown, he did not kneel to receive it from the Pope or a noble. Instead, he took the crown and placed it on his own head. Napoleon crowned himself. It was a brilliant, audacious, and really corrupt piece of political theater. Napoleon was claiming that his authority did not come from God or from man, but from himself. He made himself King of France. The crucifixion of Jesus on the hill called Golgotha, the place of the skull outside the city walls, outside Jerusalem, was the coronation of Jesus. It's not obvious to us, but the gospel writer, Mark, makes it clear in the way that gospel writers often communicated things most powerfully, most artistically. 3 times Jesus is called or labeled King of the Jews. That's important, that's deliberate. Before his crucifixion, we know that the Roman soldiers placed a crown of thorns upon his head, wrapped a purple robe upon him, and then knelt down before him and mocked him by saying, "Hail, King of the Jews," as they beat him. The placard placed upon the cross that listed the charge against him read, "King of the Jews," and we know the Romans did not take that seriously. That was both a sort of jest and a threat. The religious leaders who conspired together with Judas and the Romans to crucify Jesus, they mocked Jesus from the foot of the cross. They said to him, "King of Israel, Messiah, the King of Israel, let the Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from that cross, and then we'll believe him." Others mocked him when they called him the King of the Jews. But we know, because we've read the gospel, we know the good news. The gospel Jesus preached, the kingdom of God had come near, was now here through Jesus himself, through his incarnation, his life, and now his death. The crucifixion of Jesus is his coronation. He's called King of the Jews 3 times. He's been crowned with a crown of thorns. But there's also a really significant detail we can read past very quickly without even noticing it. Mark, the Gospel of Mark, is pretty sparing in details, so when Mark gives us details, we have to pay attention. Long before the crucifixion of Jesus, before his trial, before his arrest, before his betrayal, before the Last Supper, before his teaching in the temple, before his triumphal entry into Jerusalem, James and John, 2 of Jesus' closest disciples, came to him and said, "We want to sit at your right hand and your left in your kingdom in glory." Jesus said to them, "Those places are taken. They're not mine to give. They've already been reserved for 2 others. And then at the crucifixion, Mark makes a point of telling us that when the Romans crucified Jesus, they crucified him between 2 bandits, one on his right and one on his left. Jesus was crowned. Jesus was enthroned upon a wooden cross, with bandits seated to his right and to his left. Napoleon once said that he found the crown of France in the garbage and lifted it up. But did he? Did he really lift the crown of France from the garbage to glory? What really is garbage? What really is glory? The Napoleonic Wars took the lives, claimed the lives of somewhere between 2.5 to 3.5 million soldiers, plus at least 200,000 civilians lost their lives in those wars. The civilian deaths could have been in the millions as well. Millions of people lost their lives to serve Napoleon's ambition, put that crown on his head. Is that really glory? Golgotha was not a trash dump. Trash was not burned there. Trash was not placed there. It was a place of execution. But the Romans used crucifixion, that brutal and humiliating death on a cross, as a way of proclaiming these people are trash. These people are garbage. They deserve nothing but death, and then toss their body in a hole in the ground. Through his crucifixion, the Romans proclaimed that Jesus was garbage. But the world's garbage is God's glory. And the world's glory very often is garbage in the eyes of God. Napoleon's ambition claimed the lives of millions of people, cost the world millions of lives. The ambition of Jesus, the crown of Jesus, cost only his life. He died. He became garbage so that we could enter together into his glory, the glory of God's self-giving love. I hope that you have a truly Good Friday, where the image of Jesus enthroned on a cross reveals to your heart what glory really looks like. It's not armies. It's not a crown of gold. It's not elaborate processions and fabulous costumes. It's a crucified healer, a crucified prophet, the crucified Son of God who reigns from the cross with self-giving love. That's what makes this Friday so good. He died so that we may live. Thanks for joining us. I hope we get to see you on Easter.